Now it's time for RSM, the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5.
Welcome back, Rams fans, for another exciting episode of Ram Sports Magazine Show. I'm your host, Spencer Tillis, as always. CSU volleyball and football continued on with their conference games, and CSU basketball teams began their first official practices. Our first stop takes us over to San Diego State to see how the football team did when they traveled there for their conference game.
CSU football went into San Diego looking to do everything they could to snap their 5-game losing streak.
Just 4 plays in from scrimmage, the Aztecs would take the early lead when running back Adam Muma would break off this one from 51 yards out. 7-0 SDSU. Already down 10-7, quarterback MJ McPeak steps back and throws this one across the center, but it's tipped and picked off. That would lead to this play-action pass from quarterback Ryan Kantz connecting with his fullback Chad Young. Things would only get worse there for the Rams, as just before half, MJ McPeak would drop back and get blindsided and hit the ground hard, and would have to leave the game with a shoulder injury. 17-7 SDSU at the half. The Rams then turned to true freshman Connor Smith, and on his first completion, the ball would be stripped and the Aztecs would recover. 2 plays later, Katz would take this one up the right side and take it in for an Aztec touchdown. That didn't seem to rattle the rookie, though, as he reeled off 11 straight completions, but his 12th attempt would be tipped up in the air and eventually picked off. That would set up this back of the end zone catch by Bryce Butler from Kent, sealing the deal. The Rams fall in this one 38-14 and are now headed into their bye week before they take on Hawaii.
I'm telling you, it's really frustrating, and I'm the first, and yet it's my responsibility, and I take it. I'm not putting it on these guys. I've got to get us over that hump and go get a win. Tangible results, as we've talked about, are not there. I can, because we're judged on wins and losses. However, I see what we're doing within the community, what we're doing academically, what we're doing around campus, and I see great strides. We're going to have some slip-ups. It's just the nature of the beast, and yet, our guys are kind of really taking care of each other, and I'm out of that. I not my wildest dreams expected that we would be where we're at this point of the season. However, I think maybe it shows where we're at a little bit and what we need to do, recruiting coming up and those type of things to influx our program. And again, from an expectation standpoint, sometimes when you've been down and when things happen that way, forgetting about what was is hard because it becomes a constant, and in life, everything that happens over and over again becomes a habit. Yeah. And so erasing that habit of worrying about just win this play, and you know what, there were times even the last couple games I think we've done that.
Coach Mack plans to take full advantage of the bye week to catch up with things on the field as well as off.
It's been huge. I think, and on all teams, whenever you can get that bye week kind of right in the middle of your season, I think it's really important because it allows you to recenter. I think it allows you really some academic, things as well, as far as, concentrating on what you need to do to get forward, get those papers, done and all that kind of stuff. So I think from that standpoint, it's really good as well. And obviously for us, like all teams, we've probably had our share of injuries, but so have other teams, and it gives you an opportunity to get healthy.
All right, Rams fans, we're going to go ahead and take our first quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we're going to check in with the volleyball team and see how they did when they traveled to UNLV and Fresno State.
You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5. You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5.
Welcome back, Rams fans. The CSU volleyball team traveled for 2 very important conference games against Fresno State and conference-leading UNLV. Let's check in now and see how they did.
CSU volleyball took to the road this week for 2 very important road games against Fresno State and UNLV. In the first matchup against Fresno State, the Bulldogs came out energized by a home crowd and would power their way to a 25-15 win. The Rams would answer back in the second set, though, as Fresno native Breanne Page led the way in front of friends and family. CSU would take the second set 25-20. But back and forth we went as the Bulldogs would come back to win the third set 27-25. Facing a must-win fourth set, the Rams played with a sense of urgency and battled their way to an epic 28-26 victory. That would set up a winner-takes-all fifth set. In the fifth set, the Rams would find themselves down 11-7 before they reeled off 3 straight points to close within 1. But Fresno wouldn't let this one slip away as they took 4 of the final 6 points to win 15-12.
A few milestones were reached in Thursday's match as Izzy Gallia recorded her 1,000th career dig, becoming only the 10th Ram ever to reach that plateau. Senior middle blocker Megan Plord recorded a double-double and continued moving up the rankings on the Rams' all-time blocking list as she passed Micah Barnes for second all-time. Senior Breanne Page shattered her previous career record of 16 kills, posting 20 on the night while adding 3 blocks. The Rams didn't have much time to think about the loss as they had to take the court again just 3 days later against the conference-leading UNLV Rebels. The Rams entered the game still winless on the road at 0-5. But this time, CSU would be the one to throw the first punch, taking the first set 25-22. The Rams would lead most of the second set and eventually seal the deal with a 25-22 win. CSU would close the door on any hopes of a Rebels comeback as they completed the sweep, taking the final set 25-23. Huge game for the Rams as they close in on conference-leading UNLV and are now only 1 game back in the win column. Things are getting uncomfortably tight at the top as now 5 teams are within just 1 game of first place.
All right, Rams fans, we're now joined by head coach Tom Hilbert. Tom, you guys are coming off of your road trip where you played at Fresno State and at UNLV. Fresno State ended up being that 5-set match. How important was it for you guys after dropping that one to bounce back and beat UNLV?
Well, it was really important not only because we needed it as a team, but because UNLV was tied for the lead in the conference, and that put us back up in a tie for the lead. So in terms of the standings, it was important. Not very many people are getting a win at UNLV. They're very good. And it was also just important for us as a team to regroup and get better after losing at Fresno State.
One of the things that stood out to me in that game was we constantly talk about how you're always going to get the best from whatever team you play in conference, and how you're looking to win those sets by 2 points late, 3 points late. Every 3 sets were by 2 or 3 points.
That's right. In both matches, it was like that. So, I really think we were competitive in the entire road trip, but winning the way we did at Vegas, it was a 3-set win, but every match was tight. They were playing very well offensively. I would have liked to hold them to lower numbers and we couldn't do it, but we were good enough to overcome that.
You guys are returning home now against 2 conference games that they're towards the end of the league and are in your conference standings.
But by a match. Really, it's by a match. I mean, so Boise State's an outstanding team. Air Force is struggling at times, but they also have 2 wins, which they've never had before, or never had in a long time. So both of these teams are better than they were last year, and we will respect that, and we will play them well because we know they're good. There's no doubt about it. We just watched film on Boise State, and they're an outstanding team that plays very fast. And if you make things easy for them, they'll beat you.
Looking at the other game with Air Force, what are some of the things that they do that make it difficult for a team?
They are gritty and competitive and scrappy. And the way they've improved, though, is they've become more consistent and much lower error. And that makes them much better.
And finally, what will it do for your team moving forward for the rest of the conference? You guys are playing back here at home. You guys have been almost unbeatable here. What will it do if you guys come out with 2 wins in those games?
It puts us in a mathematical position to be, high in the league standing. But really, it's just for a week. You know what I mean? Then we got to go to work on next week, which will be challenge.
Well, good luck this weekend, and thank you for joining us, Coach.
A huge reason the Rams were able to pull off the upset at UNLV was the play of senior outside hitter Dana Cranston.
All right, Rams fans, we're now joined by Dana Cranston. Dana, looking at this last weekend, let's take a look at that Fresno State game. Break that down. It was a 5-set. It was back and forth. What happened in the end where you guys just couldn't quite pull it out?
I think I had a hard time being terminal in that game, and that didn't really help us at all. I think we were just disrupted, and they were competing a lot, and we just didn't bring enough competitiveness to that match. Like, we didn't play overly like bad in that game. We just like weren't there to like solidify the win, and they rose up, and then it was too hard for us to battle back.
So after that game, I mean, you guys moved to 0-5 on the road before going to that UNLV game. What was, I guess, the emotion around the team? I mean, were you guys starting to get down on yourselves and starting to feel upset? I mean, going into that game, or did you feel, I guess, more your back was up against the wall and we have to get ready and play this game?
I think after the Fresno game, we were super frustrated. I think it's kind of was a blessing that we had 2 days off in Vegas. Like, we just practiced, but 2 days without a game. I think during those 2 days, we kind of got our feet back under us, got a little bit of competition going at practice just to raise the level. And then we knew going into UNLV that like we were the underdog. Honestly, like, Tom said that, and he's like, this will help us thinking like this, and it did. It helped us so much. We came out ready to play, knowing that we had to play a really high-level game to beat them, especially on their home floor. Out of those, us top 4 teams in the conference, they're the only team with a home loss. So out of us 4. So we knew that if we won there, that's big time meaning for conference title in the future.
Yeah, the Rebels, I mean, they're good so far. They're at the top of the conference. What's that do for your guys' conference for your confidence as a team moving forward, being able to go there and not just win, but win one that's close and really be able to finish the deal on a team that's really good right now?
Yeah, we just came out and executed, and I think it's awesome. We played so much more freely, and everybody stepped up to the occasion, and it's just awesome to know that like we've played like that here. It reminded me a lot of how we played at Pepperdine when we played Pepperdine. And it's just cool to know that we can do that on the road, and now like that should be our expectation every road game.
Well, thank you for joining us, Dan, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, Rams fans, we're going to go ahead and take our second quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we're going to check with the men's basketball team and preview this upcoming season.
You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5. You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5.
Welcome back, Rams fans. The men's basketball team is coming off one of their best seasons in years, making it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in almost 10 years. Let's check in now and preview this upcoming season.
CSU men's basketball is entering the season with huge expectations after finishing last year with a 20-12 record. This year's squad will be looking to build off of the momentum from last year, as they will be returning 5 seniors. The Rams will be led by a new face this year, as first-year head coach Larry Stacey will be calling the plays. We caught up with senior forward Pierce Hornung to ask him a few questions about this year's squad.
All right, Rams fans, we're now joined by Pierce Hornung. Pierce, you guys are just starting up. I mean, you got practice going again. What is the feeling around the team being able to get back on the court and get things started again?
Just an anxiousness to just start up games and get back out there and play. I mean, it's fun to start practicing again. It's season time, but we're really looking forward to getting out there and playing.
You guys haven't even played a game yet, and the injury bug's already hit you with Jesse Carr going down for the season. I mean, what does that effect have on the team, losing a player like him?
It's a huge effect. Jesse's a glue guy around the locker room, and that's he brings a lot of intangibles that you don't see on the floor. And I mean, on the floor, he's such an asset with his court vision, and he does so many things for us on the court and off the court. So it's definitely a blow to lose him.
You guys have a brand new head coach this year. What are maybe some defensive and offensive philosophies that'll be a little bit different this year versus what they were last year?
I mean, there's a couple changes defensively, and offensively, we're going to be doing a lot of similar stuff, a lot of ball screens, and so I mean, it's definitely a change, but we have a lot of experience on this team to where we can adjust a lot easier than maybe teams that are a bunch of young guys.
Speaking of that experience, you guys are coming off one of the best seasons that they've had here in a while. You guys made the tournament last year. What is all of that, I mean, just the experience of being there and playing in that environment, what can you bring from that into this season?
Just what it takes to make it there and how hard it is, and and how hard a process it is. We know that we can't come in here expecting to, just magically make the NCAA tournament. We know that it's a tough process, it's a tough road, and you got to make things happen. So that's definitely one thing as a team we took away from last season.
The first NCAA polls came out. You guys weren't ranked yet, but you're starting to receive votes. Is that something you even look at, or is that something you take pride in at all?
At this point in the season, every team's 0-0, so we haven't proven anything. That's based off last year, and we're a completely different team. Like you said, we got a new coaching staff, so we have to go out there and prove it. We have to go out there and earn that, earn respect. So we don't really look too much at that.
Speaking of the new team, let's talk about some of the new faces to the program. What are some of the players just that you think are going to make an immediate impact that fans that haven't heard of before should be aware of coming into the season?
Well, we got a transfer from Minnesota last year, and he had to sit out last year, Colton Iverson, and he's a big guy, and he adds a dimension that we haven't had since I've been with the program, so keep an eye out for him. And then another guy, Daniel Bejarano, transferred from Arizona. He can really shoot the ball, and he's real athletic and can do a lot of things.
Finally, what are some of the things, what improvements are you guys wanting to get done from now up until that first game? Is it just get the offense implemented, or is it still maybe get used to a couple of the new pieces?
Just get comfortable with playing together as a team. Get the defense down. Defense is always most important. That's what we focus most of our time on. Because offense, sometimes you're not going to have a great shooting night, but defense can always be there. So we were really focusing on that and shoring that up before the season starts.
Well, thank you for joining us, Pearson. We look forward to watching you this season.
All right, Rams fans, we're going to go and take our last quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we're going to check in with the women's basketball team and preview their upcoming season.
You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5. You're watching the Ram Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5.
Welcome back, Rams fans. Lots of hope and optimism surrounding the women's basketball team as they seem to turn the corner last season. Let's check in now and preview this upcoming one.
The CSU women's basketball team finished last year with a 13-17 record, but went 9-5 in conference. This year's team returns a few key players while infusing some new blood, including first-year head coach Ryan Williams. We caught up with Coach Williams to ask him a few questions about this year's squad and preview the season to come.
It's great to be on the court. I think we've got a very energetic, ambitious bunch that I think is ready to get better. And that's what practice does. It allows you opportunities to get to work and grind it out with your team, and our team's doing that. I'm happy with the progress. We've got some good leadership on this squad, and it's fun to have basketball season here. I think if this team can stay healthy, we've got some nice pieces that I think can be an advantage for us. We did lose two really good players. We can't put that under the carpet, but we've got some nice freshmen that I think can come in, and I think the development of our team is really going to depend on how fast our freshmen grow. Caitlin Duffy was a really good player from South Dakota, big-time player, probably the best player in the state. She's a versatile player, can play 1 through 4. Emily Johnson from Georgetown, Texas is a very versatile guard. She can play 1 through 3. And these kids, they've got just a very instinctive style. They know how to score the ball. They know how to just play basketball. And Taylor Varsho, she's an ornery little cuss now. She knows how to compete. And she's a tough kid from Wisconsin that will bring a lot of energy and a much-needed toughness to our lineup. We hope to play really organized offensive basketball. Defensively, we hope to be in the right spots and play very, very determined. We want to defend, we want to rebound, and we want to run organized, good, solid offense with the right kids touching the ball at the right times at the right spots. Well, I think the biggest thing is teaching kids how you want to play. First of all, what intensity level is expected from this staff, and that's where we still have to grow. We have to be more determined. we do have to play tougher. We do have to play harder, and we're still growing in that area. You know, that's the first thing that you want to get across. We want to build that foundation. Then your group has to be organized. They have to know what we're doing and running offensively, know what we're doing and running defensively. You know, I am aware of the energy and that the passion that our fans have and what Moby is, the tradition that it has. And I'm anxious to tip it off November 11th against Montana State and, you know, bring a really, you know, good basketball team on the floor that's going to, I think, be entertaining to watch, and they're going to compete. They're going to compete for CSU. They're going to compete for our fans. And I'm excited to lead that. This is a good group. This is a great university with great leadership, and I'm just proud to be their basketball coach.
One player that the Rams will be expecting big contributions from is junior forward Sam Martin. For Martin, she's just excited to be back on the court.
You know, like once it started, it was exciting. Like our locker room atmosphere was just great because we had this new change and everyone was ready and really, really excited about this season. And so these practices have been really fun. It's new, so it's a little frustrating, but I mean, we're really starting to get it and it's starting to click and it shows. So it's been exciting and a good time for us. It's been a very big transition. Like, I mean, they're having us play at different spots. We're playing at more spots. And, like, today I was talking to Lav, and he was just saying that we've never really been able to just, like, do what we want. Like, we're so used to, like, kind of, like, being put in places. And I think right now the transition is playing basketball. Like, we have a play, but if there's something else, we've got to do it. So we're trying to learn about how we can just play basketball and, like, read situations. And that's been hard for our team, but I think we're coming along and just kind of, like, playing basketball, starting to. We didn't have a very good start last year. But we finished out pretty good. And I think that we have a lot of talent coming in. We saw what we could do, which means that we have to do it from the start this year. We can't just have, like, when you start off really well, you kind of build on it. So, like, on November 11th, we've just got to start. We got to come at them, win that, and then you got to keep going from there. And you kind of, like, just trickle off of each thing that happens. And we definitely know what we can do from last year, and we can build on that and do even better. We won a 20-win season. You know, I'm tired of hitting 13.
Martin's excited for the first game back, but knows her and the rest of her team have a lot of work left to do before the first tip-off.
Oh, I'm excited for the game, but we are not ready yet. We've got some things to do. So, like Coach said, we got practice tomorrow or on Friday, and you know, I think once the games start, we'll be ready. But there's still some things we have to get better at.
All right, Rams fans, that's all the time I have for you today, but make sure to check in next week for another exciting episode of Rams Sports Magazine.
This has been RSM, the Rams Sports Magazine Show on Northern Colorado 5.